What's up, people? One Nut Punch here. So, Light Brigade came out with a pretty big update called Memories of War, or Update 2.0, August 31st, 2023. They also mess with the different UI inside the firing range and the Temple HQ. So, beforehand, when they did the class setup, it wasn't a circle that you turn by grabbing and then pulling it. It used to be like these crystals that would hang from these like strings, and then you would go and pray to whichever one you wanted to choose from. So now they made this more of like an easier way of being able to choose your class's guarantee, rather than having a bunch of the crystals together and then praying so that you can get to whatever class you want to use. The two new classes they added into the game were the Breacher and the Engineer. Breacher, of course, has a shotgun, the Winchester 1897, and then you have a Walther P38 pistol, as well as a wand as soon as you unlock both of them, because you don't get a sidearm when you first start off the class. You have to unlock them as you go when you get more of the diamonds or whatever tokens they're specifically called. That being said, I have unlocked the Engineer while getting to level 5 for the Breacher, which is the way to unlock it. And I do like the Engineer class quite a lot, mainly because you have the MP35, which is a submachine gun, the primary gun for that class, and you also have a new mechanic, which is the drone. And this drone can be used for different things. It can be used for you shooting, controlling itself, and then firing whatever enemies are nearby, and it will auto-target to whatever enemy would be there. Or, if you let it go and sit air by itself, it'll start shooting randomly at any enemies that are coming near it. I will state when it comes down to the Breacher, before we talk more about the Engineer classes, how do you reload the shotgun? Well, when you grab the ammunition, you can load 6 to 7 rounds inside the shotgun before you have to obviously pump it so that you could shoot again, because that's how shotgun/trench guns worked. And it's a lot easier to be able to have 6 or 7 bullets in your hand, load it that many times, cock it, and then you're ready to fire. That's essentially how the Breacher works. And it was a little bit harder to deal with, again, when trying to shoot at targets that are farther away. That's why it was a lot easier as soon as I got the pistol, that I didn't have to worry about walking up like 2-3 feet and shooting something point-blank range with a shotgun. The other thing that they decided to add into the game were new tactical items. Boost syringes, power up mid-battle with powerful injections, which I did find a syringe over here by a barrel when I was doing the forest level 1 or 2. I don't remember which level it was, but as soon as I found it, it was like a purple item, and what you do is you stick it in your hand, and it will heal you fully. So I went from like 11 HP to 22, and then I got 20 additional HP on it, called Overload. So if you do pick that up, that's pretty huge for a lot of the different fights you have to deal with this Breacher. But they also added a canteen, holds multiple charges and heals on drink, keeps your health topped up. Defense helmet, wear this to block a single gunshot of any kind. They also added a smokable cigar, take a break and relax, go kill with style, which is essentially you light it up and then put it in your mouth and it just sits there while you obviously smoke. And the last thing that they added was a flare gun, which will summon allies when you fire it up in the air. So you have to cock the gun first, fire it up in the sky, and you'll have allies to come help you in battle. But the main thing was, when it came down to the drone for the Engineer, is that you can move it around with a joystick on your actual belt that will be in the center. And you can move the thing around to go to different areas and will auto-target different enemies that are near it, or you could fire it yourself by pressing down the trigger. And it's a crazy thing to really mess with, because I thought you would need a screen to use it. And it does kind of feel weird to mess with when it's flying around the different map, and you can't really see it unless you see this yellow bar that shows its health because it's being hit, or, you know, it's crashing into things. I'm not sure if it actually takes damage when you fly into a tree. So ideally, if you're using the drone, it's essentially to go into different areas or hot spots that might be enemies nearby, or if you have too low of health, like say for example myself, you just send the drone in and it will shoot at anything that's nearby it. The other thing you have to mention too is that when you use the drone and it is destroyed, it will go back to your belt and it will start to recover slowly. The other thing about it is that you can recall it back by pressing the A button, which I do for the Quest 2, and it will come right back to you without having to pick it back up. And that is pretty quite useful if you want to use that to bring your drone back without having to worry about the cooldown of like the repair after it gets destroyed by like an elite or something else. And it is useful to just have that drone there protect you so that when you're going in and finding an item or a tarot card, you could just use the drone to know, okay, well, there's an enemy nearby, so he's going to shoot at the thing. And if it's destroyed, then I can go finish it off with the MP35 or just send him back out again and he'll start taking out more of the enemies. Now, I will say that the developers talked about a couple other things in these patch notes. For example, they added a new firing range, which is accessible in the Temple HQ. I don't know exactly. I'll probably show a video or do like a short showing it off if people ask. The other thing was a new area called the Lost Memories Battlegrounds, which I did not find or get to yet because you have to go through the old forest and then the mountains first before you fight the first boss, which I think is Altair. And after you fight him, you go to the sewers. Unless that's afterwards or before, I'm not sure which the new level will be at. But I'll let people know if they decide to ask about it. A couple last things that the developers talked about that they added into the game was the new custom runs. New Sacred Memory Shrine has been added for the late game challenges. And then they added the new class shrine, which you've seen earlier, which was a new like circle you turn to select the different classes you're going to choose from, rather than the old one, which used to be like a weird shelf with the different strings of the crystals on there, so that you would go to whichever one you wanted to do, pray to it, and that's how you changed in that specific class. So that got changed, as well as new legendary tarot cards. I have not seen them yet, still have to find them in the game. But there's definitely a bunch more content inside Light Brigade, and it's definitely incredibly fun to play every once in a while. Now with new stuff, now with new tactical gear, new classes and weapons, and new upgrades, I mean, I got more time to mess around with the game. Plus, I got my VR kind of fixed to do some other stuff on it. But anyway, I've been One Nut Punch, and this has been another video. Thanks for watching as per usual, and if you want to see more Light Brigade stuff, I'll probably try some streams on it. Maybe even do a couple more videos, but right now, I'm going to be messing around with the new update, Memories of War. I'll see y'all later in the next one.